This is The Locker Room. What is going on, Locker Room faithful? It has been too long, and by too long, I mean way too long, okay? Welcome back to the Locker Room podcast. Hey, joining me today, my brand new co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a big, not too big, because I need a bigger welcome, but give him a semi-big, maybe medium to small size welcome, Mr. Justin Courtright.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Glad to be here. Glad to be part of the Locker Room family, and I'm so ready to talk about some interesting topics we got today and moving forward. And we got some big shows coming up too, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. So just say thank you to my co-host Jacob, and let's get going.
And let's get it going indeed. Listen, we couldn't have picked a better week to return. Right? We really couldn't have. Tom Brady retires officially. You know, there was a lot of unofficial reports, but he officially comes out on Instagram, pulls the heartstrings of the American people, lets us know that he is no longer playing football after 22 seasons. We've got Joe Burrow smoking cigars all the way to the Super Bowl, taking down Patrick Mahomes, taking down Kansas City. I mean, Matty Stafford going for his first ring. The redemption of OBJ. What is up with football this year? I mean, this has been an incredible year. If you are a football fan, not if you're a Bears fan, not if you're a Titans fan, not if you're a Dolphins fan, not if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, which all four of you, thank you for listening. But if you are a football fan, this is the year to enjoy football because this has been insane. All the number one seeds go down in the playoffs. We've got a second-year QB in Joe Burrow who tore his ACL in the first year, comes back, leads his team all the way to the Super Bowl in the second year. Like, you just have storyline upon storyline. And but I guess we've got to start at the GOAT. We've got to start at Tom Brady. We got to give this man his time, his respect. So, Justin, your thoughts on the official retirement of Mr. One Patrick Edwards Brady?
I mean, yeah, it's just heartbreaking. That's all I have to say. I really wish he would have came back for one farewell tour. But I understand he didn't want to make it about himself. He wanted it to be about the team, and that's what he's been for over the last 22 years as a starting quarterback in this league. He's done everything he can possibly want to do or need to do in the NFL to become the greatest of all time. I don't think there's any argument that he's the best quarterback to ever lace up the cleats. Just the way he handles himself in and off the field, and just the competitor he is. He finds these little bitty edges that he can use to make himself better each and every day. And I think that's what propelled him to the greatness and the Hall of Fame career that he had. And we'll all remember the greatness of Tom Brady that he did winning the 7 Super Bowls and just becoming the leader he's become for the last 22 years.
Yeah, he is one of those guys, especially when players are great. It's very easy for us to put an even bigger spotlight on them. And, all of Jordan's flaws were brought to the forefront. There's very few leaders or very few great, look at Tiger Woods. All of his 27 flaws? I can't remember how many women were up to it now. It's very Desean Watson-esque. But if you're in that GOAT echelon, all your flaws come to the front. And over 22 years, what have we heard about Tom Brady? Incredible leader, incredible teammate. Oh, and also the greatest football player of all time. I mean, he shares a lot of what Jordan had, which is that internal competitive edge that I think we've only seen, honestly, in my lifetime, 3 players. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Tom Brady. Those are the only 3 that I can think of at the top of my head that had a competitive edge to the point where you could say, he could sneeze, you could say, bless you. And if you didn't say bless you in the right way, they would use that to destroy anybody in front of them. I'm going to miss Tom Brady beyond belief. But here's the deal. And Justin, you can attest to this. We, growing up, we were never Tom Brady fans. In fact, I would say you and I were Tom Brady haters, along with Seth and anybody else that really we're close with, because people hate greatness. They do. Listen, I am very guilty of this. I hate greatness, and I had to kind of finally grow up and understand to appreciate what we're watching. You know, you don't appreciate Kobe Bryant when he was playing. Now we can't appreciate Kobe Bryant at all because he's gone, right? So many people, I think they do this a lot with LeBron James. They don't appreciate what LeBron James is doing in year 19 at 37 years of age. It's like, cherish these moments because at any point they can walk away. And I thought Tom Brady, like you said, I thought he was going to come back for a farewell tour, maybe one more year. You know, honestly, maybe even try and go back up to the hometown, play with Bill Belichick one more time. I thought that would have been a poetic send off, but he's done. Finally walks away. So that being said, top 5 quarterbacks all time. Where are you going?
Top 5 of all time?
Top 5 all time.
I'd have to go number 5, Drew Brees.
Okay.
The way his career was, broken all those records, and Tom Brady, of course, broke all of them. And so he was just a leader on and off field. Number 4, I'm going to go with Mr. Peyton Manning at number 4.
The sheriff.
Yep, he's a great quarterback, Super Bowl champ, and what is there more to say about Peyton Manning, his legacy? Number 2, I'm going to go Joe Montana. And the way he handled himself, and he's a Super Bowl champ too. So that's my number 2 or number 3. My number 2 is Mr. Dan Marino. And they'll say, why Dan Marino? He never won a Super Bowl. That's true. He never won a Super Bowl, but you got to think of the team he had. It's like Tom Brady going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's not going to work. All right, they're not winning a championship. All right, let's just be honest. Let's just say where it is. No offensive line, no help. Like they're not making it to the championship. And so of course that's why it's hard for some people to see him at number 2 because he never won. But you got to look at the stats. You got to look at his wins. You just got to look at the way he played. And it was definitely worth that. And then, of course, number 1, the GOAT himself, Tom Brady.
Well, I think when we get into this, when we get into GOAT debates, and I talked to, not to brag or anything, but I talked to NBA Hall of Famer Paul Westphal, also rest in peace, passed away last year. You know, he's somebody who coached Charles Barkley against Michael Jordan in an NBA championship. And I brought up the GOAT debate with him because he, coached in the era where he watched Michael Jordan played against Michael Jordan firsthand, but then he also was involved with the San Antonio Spurs, the 76ers, and several other teams where he got to watch LeBron James firsthand. And I asked him, I said, when it comes to the GOAT debate, there's always going to be 1 or 2 that we all can agree are going to be in your top 5. There's always going to be a LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate. There's always going to be a Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. There's always going to be those 2. But then, I can't, deny or really hate on your list because everybody's got their own personal opinions. Do you judge the GOAT debate, based on skill, based on what they could do on the field with the weapons that they had around them? Do you base them on rings? For me, it's a mixture of both. But that's why I think the GOAT debate gets so interesting, and that's why people like Dan Marino, people like Terry Bradshaw, people like that squeeze into a lot. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, put Terry Bradshaw at number 4 overall. Like, that's why these people squeeze it. If you already put Patrick Mahomes in your top 5, you can go screw yourself. Like, can we be honest with that? I know that's harsh.
It's too soon. Too soon.
Thank you. Like, you give me Patrick Mahomes in 6 more years when he's been to another Super Bowl, probably one or 2 more Super Bowls, for sure. You slide that man up there in the top 5. But I saw a list, actually, and the reason we're talking about this today is I saw a list on ESPN. Had Patrick Mahomes number 4 overall. Like, stop. So, here's my top 5. I'll start in reverse order. I'll go from greatest to I'll go from 1 to 5. Number 1, Tom Brady. I mean, we just talked about it. Number 2, Mitchell Trubisky. No, I'm just joking. No, number 2, and this one was really tough for me because there's a lot of players I wanted to put in here. But number 2, I'd probably go Joe Montana. I mean, his talent level was insane. Number 3, Peyton Manning. Number 4, based on strict talent, I want to put Aaron Rodgers there, but instead I'll probably go Drew Brees at number 4. Then I'll go Aaron Rodgers at 5. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the most gifted throwers of the football that we will ever see in our entire lifetime. I still think at this day and age, he still has a little bit better arm than Patrick Mahomes. So, but those are my top 5 GOATs of all time. But let's just do this. Let's move on to what's one thing you are going to appreciate and or miss having Tom Brady on Sundays? Is it miss watching him play? What is it?
I mean, yeah, you got obviously. I mean, that's the obvious take is watching him play. But I'm gonna spin it in a different route. I'm gonna miss the way he yells at the refs. I mean, this man, he came on. I think it was ESPN where I read it, and he was just like, I can say whatever I want to the refs, and stuff like that. And man, you saw it at the last game when he got his lip hit and his lip was bleeding. He was giving it to the ref. And so, you're going to miss those competitive fires from Tom Brady. And it was just something I'm really going to miss about him.
Yeah, he looked at the ref and said, "Excuse me, dear sir. I do believe that you might have missed that call." There was one or two more F-bombs in there,
He probably used an F-bomb or so.
It looked like there was one or two on TV. Yeah. I mean, that's a good one. I'm either going to miss... that's tough. Because I was going to say something that wasn't really play-related. I was going to say I'm going to miss that look that Tom Brady has being down 2 touchdowns come the fourth quarter after he got pissed. After it was a missed call, after one of his teammates messed up, after somebody sacked him and lipped off. And there's that meme where it's like, when you see this look, you're screwed. I think I'm going to miss seeing that Tom Brady competitive look where, even at home, I'm like, dude, is he going to come here and try and beat me at Madden? Like, that's how competitive he looked. I think I'm going to miss that the most. But also... like I said, I grew to be a Brady lover, especially later in his career. I'd say the last couple years, when he won his 5th Super Bowl, I was like, okay, I'm done. He's the GOAT. There's no denying it. I started falling in love with the guy. And then after his championship in Tampa, when I saw him drunk on avocado tequila, I was done. Became my favorite quarterback of all time and the overall GOAT. But that's what I'm going to miss about Tom Brady. Justin,
it's sad to see him go. I wish he would have came back for one more year, but I understand. He's got a wife and kids that he's got to think about, and so he just did the best, what was best for their family. And I never knock a person who does what's best for their family, but no doubt it's going to be weird having an NFL year without him going forward. So. It's definitely going to be weird.
It's super sad when you start to see these upper echelon, these GOATs walk away from the game. We're very near to a LeBron James farewell tour, goodbye speech. We lost Kobe, Tom Brady. So what we're saying, people, is appreciate the GOATs. Appreciate the time that they're playing. Appreciate their skill. If sports reporters would spend less time demolishing these men for the small mistakes they make and more time praising what they're doing, I think that the general public could get behind that. All right, we got to move on here because we've got some Super Bowl topics we got to get to. So this is a very unlikely Super Bowl. I'm sure besides the Rams, I know the Rams were definitely picked by a lot of people to get there. I don't think anybody saw this coming. No one saw Joe Burrow storming through and taking the league by storm and getting to a Super Bowl.
No, Joe Cool and the Bengals, man, how they turned this year around. Earlier, you thought, Joe Burrow coming off that gruesome injury he had just a year ago. Nobody in the right mind thought that he was capable of doing what he has done this year. And he should have definitely been in the MVP conversation. You can see it. He's the Bengals. Him and Jamar Chase is what makes the Bengals the Bengals.
And he's averaging like 320 yards a game.
Yeah,
He had 2 games where it was 460, 465 or something like that. The last game against the Chiefs was like 470. Like, we don't have quarterbacks doing this anymore. The last time I can remember a quarterback throwing like this consistently was Matt Ryan the year they went to the Super Bowl. And he was only averaging 340, 350 in games. Like, this man's dropping 160 yards past what we've seen. And mind you, people, this is his 2nd year. This is his first full year, by the way, but 2nd year in the NFL.
And Jamar Chase already making All-Pro as a rookie. Man, they picked up right where they left off at the national championship. And this is actually a stat I saw earlier in the week. Is Joe Burrow would be the first quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl in his 2nd year after winning a national championship and winning the Heisman and becoming the number 1 overall pick. No quarterback, nobody has ever done that in this league. And so Joe Burrow has the chance to be the only one and we'll see if he can get the job done.
And what's crazy to me about Joe Burrow though is, like, a lot of people knew he was going to be good in the NFL.
Right.
I don't think any of us knew that Joe Burrow was going to be a top 5, top 6 quarterback in the NFL in year 2. I mean, it's hard for him to it's hard for him to drop out of that conversation. I mean, Tom Brady's gone. I still would have put Tom Brady in my top 5. Definitely not at number 1. But I mean, when he was still playing, he was still playing at a high level. So you got your Patrick Mahomes, you've got your Aaron Rodgers, you've got your, well, I mean, Russell Wilson didn't have a great year this year, but usually Russell Wilson's up there in that conversation. I mean, Justin Herbert's skyrocketed into the top 10 for sure, but he's nowhere near what Joe Burrow is. I mean, some people could argue Joe Burrow is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, no doubt. And let's not forget Desean Watson. He's coming back at some point. Now, at what time when he comes back and all that, that's remains to be seen.
The FBI.
But he's coming back at some point, and this man, when he's on the field playing at a high level, top 3 quarterback in the league. So we can't forget about Desean Watson. But yeah, let's give Joe Burrow his flowers. He brought his Bengals to the Super Bowl, and what an accomplishment that is. And let's see if he can get the job done versus stout Rams defense. And I believe he's up to the task.
Well, and here's the deal. Like, let's be honest. Like Justin said, it is crazy what a franchise quarterback can do for you. If the Bengals don't have Justin Herbert or a Joe Burrow, somebody that I think is in that caliber, Justin Herbert's still, I don't even think close right now, though, with how Joe Burrow's playing this year. But if you don't have a guy like that, and you just put some okay quarterback behind a god-awful offensive line, they're not dragging that team to the Super Bowl. They're not. And and this is the crazy part is everybody wants to talk about Jamari Chase. Yeah, Jamari Chase has been amazing. Don't get me wrong, but what did Jamari Chase do last game? That was all off of Joe Burrow's back that he drugged this team behind an awful offensive line. When's the last time we saw a quarterback get sacked 9 times like he did against the Tennessee Titans and still prevail in that football game? Like, Joe Burrow is a special, special guy. And I think now that Tom Brady is stepping away from the spotlight, Joe Burrow will be right there with Patrick Mahomes, will be right there with Aaron Rodgers, will be right there with the big-name guys every single year. And you're 100% right. He definitely should have been in the MVP conversation. So that being said, we know that Joe Burrow had an incredible feat. But let's flip to the other side of the coin and go Matthew Stafford. What Matthew Stafford has accomplished, a lot of people said Matthew Stafford wouldn't be able to drag himself from the depths of Detroit. He got out of Detroit, and then a lot of people said he's not built for these big moments. Then he has massive throws that end up winning them the games, leads his team to a Super Bowl in year 1. So, I mean, you really do have the battle of 2 guys that have never been in this position before. But what are your thoughts on Matthew Stafford?
I mean, let's just all be honest. He was in crap Detroit for his whole career. Like, he had to get out of Detroit to become a winner. Let's be honest. Detroit, as we can all see, apparently they've wasted his career in Detroit. Because,
Detroit is Jacksonville, but with snow.
He was 0-3 in the playoffs with Detroit, and he's 3-0 with the Rams in the playoffs. So, I mean, once you get guys around you that can, because the quarterback can't do it all on his own, and he needs guys. And I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, but he had Megatron, he had all these guys." Okay, well, he had a crap show for a defense over there for many years, and you can't win it. You can't really win a championship without at least a decent defense, if not a great defense. And that shows you of all the championship teams, the Bucks, number 1 in defense. Chiefs the year before that, number 1 in defense. Like, we got to give it up to defense is important, and in Detroit, they play no defense.
So do you think Matthew Stafford's ready for the big moment? Here's why I say yes. What we saw Matthew Stafford do in his throws to Cooper Kupp, it's very easy for a quarterback when he sees a guy that wide open to overthrow that wide receiver. It's very easy for them to be off target. And if he's off target by 6 inches, he's off target by a foot in NFL standard, right? So it's very easy for him to overthrow Cooper Kupp and not ice that game. It's very easy for him to collapse when the Bucks come storming back.
No doubt. And I think he's up for it. I mean, you can't say he's not after seeing these 3 games. I mean, toe to toe with Tom Brady, beat Kyler Murray. Like, these are not easy tests that he went through, and he was able to go through them, beat them all. And we're sitting here, and he's in the Super Bowl with 1 win away to become a Super Bowl champ. So we shall see.
All right, so one thing that we do, we'll definitely next week we'll get into our Super Bowl predictions and we'll have a big Super Bowl show. But let's kind of talk early about this. All right, give me your two deciding factors for the Rams and your two deciding factors for the Cincinnati Bengals. What are the two things that have to happen in order for these teams to be successful come Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, let's go. Let's do the Rams first. Matthew Stafford has got to be mistake free. He cannot put the ball in harm's way and get picked off. He can't have that happen. And then the defense, the second point would be the defense needs to get that pass rush keep going. They need to keep that pass rush going and going. Get Aaron Donald in the face of Joe Burrow, Von Miller in the face of Joe Burrow, Leonard Floyd in the face of Joe Burrow. Those guys have to get to Joe Burrow and able to beat the Bengals. And then for the Bengals side, it's as simple as this. Give the ball to Jamar Chase. Give the ball to Jamar Chase.
Now, don't you think that's going to be real difficult? I mean, you do have Jalen Ramsey on the other side. It's going to be right there.
It's not going to be easy, but if they want to win, they got to get the ball to Jamar Chase, and then they have to somewhat protect Joe Burrow in this game. The Rams got a feisty pass rush defense, so they have to protect Joe Burrow, but then Joe Burrow has to drop back and make the right reads and get the guys in great positions, and they gotta score and not settle for field goals in this one.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to have to score touchdowns if you're going to win and beat the Los Angeles Rams. I'll start with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'll go to the Rams, so I'll piggyback off of you. I'm going to start right off with you. Can the offensive line do something? They don't have to do everything, because Joe Burrow's good enough that the offensive line doesn't have to do everything for him to be successful. Can they do anything? Can they keep him from being knocked down 20 times this game? Can they keep Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd? Can they keep these guys off of him for one or two possessions so that they can get the confidence that they need? That's my first thing that the Cincinnati Bengals need, is can the front line do anything? And then my second thing is the other guys. And I'm not talking about the amazing movie with Will Ferrell, all right? Let me be a peacock captain, got to let me fly. Not talking about that other guys, even though it's an incredible film. I'm talking about Tyler Boyd. I'm talking about Joe Mixon. I'm talking about the other weapons, because Jalen Ramsey is good enough that on any given day he can lock down the best wide receiver in the NFL at any moment. So you know he's going to be on Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase is still going to have a good game, probably 7 catches, 67 yards, maybe a touchdown. Highly doubt the touchdown, but he'll have an okay day. But can the other guys become factors? Can Tyler Boyd really step up and be that consistent weapon? Because he's going to have that. He's going to have Joe Mixon coming out of the backfield. So that's what I'm interested in for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, flash forward to the Cincinnati Rams, to the Los Angeles Rams. Number 1, Matthew Stafford has to be mistake-free. Exactly what you said. When Matthew Stafford turns the football over, Matthew Stafford tends to lose football games. And that's the biggest worry that a lot of people had when he had that turnover last time, is Matthew Stafford had the turnover early, threw a pick in the end zone. It was a very bad throw. It was a very bad read. And I thought when that moment happened, I was like, it's done. The Rams are over. San Francisco's running away with this game. But, he blew my mind and came back from it. But if he's not mistake-free in this game, the Rams will literally make him pay. Or not the Rams, excuse me. The Cincinnati Bengals will make him pay. We have seen them make Ryan Tannehill pay. 3 interceptions for Ryan Tannehill? We have seen them make everybody pay so far. They know how to intercept a football. So they'll make him pay. And then secondly, OBJ. I know that sounds weird because you have Cooper Kupp, best wide receiver in the NFL this year. But I think OBJ was such a deciding factor in last week's win. Look at what he did. Look at the big catches he made in big situations. OBJ is stepping into the role that Robert Woods had. Robert Woods is one of the best. The way Sean McVay's offense works is there's always a guy coming across or coming behind. There's always a guy in that 5-yard shallow, either behind or in front, that is going to be the release valve. And that's how Robert Woods made his living. OBJ is now flipped into that spot. Can OBJ continually be a factor? Can OBJ continually score touchdowns in big moments? Can he make the big catches? Can he get the big first downs? We've seen him consistently do it since he's been out of Cleveland, and I think he's going to be a massive factor come Super Bowl Sunday.
What a gift that was for him getting out of Cleveland.
I mean, let's be honest, that's a gift for anybody to get out of Cleveland.
That's true, but look what he's done ever since he's gotten traded from the Browns. Like, wow, this incredible what he's done. And
what was it?
obviously,
Was it 7 touchdowns?
it's seven touchdowns and stuff, and he had no touchdowns with Cleveland. Well, and you just gotta think Cleveland must be kicking themselves. And then Baker's got to be doing some soul searching as well after seeing Odell, his buddy Odell, in the Super Bowl.
First off, can we agree that OBJ's dad is one of the most savage people in the world? Like, puts together a highlight reel of how bad Baker Mayfield is and how many missed open. Like, if
Dude,
my
wild,
dad, that is savage. I love a good savage story, and that was straight savage. But no, I mean, you're right. OBJ is kind of resurrected to what we've known him to be for several years. Now, here's the problem. If OBJ wins a Super Bowl, I mean, he's going to be out there twerking on the field. He's going to be beating up, kicking nets again.
As long as we don't have Jackson Mahomes doing it.
Oh, ain't that the truth? I mean, the best memes I've seen all week are all the memes where it's like, is there anybody that can keep Jackson Mahomes from twerking in the end zone come Super Bowl? And then, these pictures of Joe Burrow pop up. I mean, let's be honest. We were saved by the bell.
So cool.
Saved by Joe Burrow on that one. But yeah, that's our way too early, Super Bowl insights. We'll go our predictions next week. We'll hold those off, keep it a little juicy, keep a little meat on the bone. Because listen, this first episode back, we got a lot to give here. But let's move on. Let's get out of the football talk. We've talked about football enough. We've got the NBA to talk about. More importantly, we've got an injured LeBron James, a disheveled Los Angeles Lakers team. We've got an East that is up in arms. We've got a West that is open for just about anybody, it feels like, and I have absolutely no direction on where the NBA is going.
Yeah, the NBA is very chaotic right now, especially in the East with all the injuries, and teams are up and down this year with COVID protocols. And then you've got in the West, you've got the Lakers out there sitting at number 7, I believe.
No, they're
right
back
now.
down to 9 because after 3 straight games, LeBron didn't play, 3 straight losses for the Los Angeles Lakers, and back down to number 9.
Yeah, and so they're struggling. And then there's this league is just up and down right now. Good teams beat bad teams beat good teams. And it seems like no team can really stay consistent except for a few teams like the Phoenix Suns. And then my sleeper pick for the NBA championship, the Memphis Grizzlies, who lost a heartbreaking overtime game last night. Ja Morant was fantastic, of course, like he always is, and Desmond Bane tied it up there at the end, but they just weren't able to get the win in overtime. But they're definitely a team to be feared as a team that has a real shot at winning the NBA championship this year.
Well, that's what actually Skip Bayless talked about this the other day. Memphis is a team that's so dangerous because they are a team that doesn't know that they're not supposed to be winning this much this early. Like, they're those young guys that come into the gym, for pickup basketball, and the team that's been dominating everybody, the team of college guys, the team of the one old head that used to play at Duke, like that team's killing everybody, then this team of young guys walks in and starts blowing everybody off the floor because they don't know that they're not supposed to be in that situation. They don't know that they're not supposed to be beating everybody. And Ja Morant, his level of confidence just gets higher and higher and higher. Jackson, his confidence level just gets higher and higher and higher. And it seems like from the top to the bottom, this team is just stacked. They're young. They get out and run in front of everybody. They've played them and the Suns have played the most consistent basketball all year. I would say them, the Suns, and then, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks have been pretty solid, as they always are.
And watch out now, here comes Dallas. They've won 16 out of the last 19 games. So,
and yeah,
Luka's starting to come back on a little bit now.
Well, and Luka looked like he ate a little bit too much pasta in the offseason. Like, let's be honest. It looked like he had to play his way into shape. I mean, he was huffing and puffing in the second quarter, and I was just like, yo, is this guy good? And now you can start seeing Luka get back into form. The West is so confusing to me because Golden State went on this massive hot streak. They're going to win the NBA title. They get Klay Thompson back, and now they lost 9 out of 13 last games. Steph Curry finally got back on the high horse last night and scored 40, but it was against the Houston Rockets, guys. The second worst team in the NBA, if not the worst team in the NBA. I know it kind of goes back and forth with who's the worst. But the West is very confusing. You got the dumpster fire that is the Los Angeles Lakers. And then if you look over to the East, I mean, no one can stay healthy. You have Kyrie Irving playing every other Friday because of the COVID mandates. The Milwaukee Bucks are, again, the most consistent. The Miami Heat were supposed to be the next big up-and-comer, and Jimmy Butler and that young squad with Kyle Lowry were supposed to be punching people in the face. The Bulls went from being great to okay and starting to split a lot of games, winning winning 2 out of 4 instead of winning 3 out of 4 like they were earlier in the year. So I just don't know what the landscape of the NBA is right now. I don't see a clear team on either side that I'm like, this is the team that I can 100% put faith in. Honestly, besides the Phoenix Suns, I don't know that I can trust anybody else in the NBA right now.
I would probably favor in the two conferences right now. I'd probably favor the Phoenix Suns a little bit over the Memphis Grizzlies, not too much, but I would probably favor them a little bit more than them. And in the East, I would say I would have to go with Milwaukee a little bit over Brooklyn. Those would be my two. Those would be my two favorites. So it'd be kind of a rematch of last year's finals. And as much as I would love for Giannis to win another one, I do not want to see a rematch of last year's finals in this year's.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Giannis just kind of dominated those finals. It wasn't really a lot of fun. Here's my problem with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, if KD would stay healthy, Brooklyn always has a shot. KD's, second best player in the NBA if healthy. I think Giannis is number 1. I've moved LeBron down to 3 because LeBron is still playing at a very high level for those of you who don't want to accept it. But I would put KD at 2. And if KD's healthy, they don't need Kyrie Irving every single night. They don't. KD's just that good. But the problem is I think Brooklyn's poorly coached. I think Steve Nash is in way over his head. James Harden has already expressed how unhappy he is to be in Brooklyn. He's pissed off with the whole Kyrie Irving sitting and playing and sitting and playing. KD's always hurt, and James Harden's not somebody who wants to try and elevate a team, or I don't think is somebody that can elevate a team. We saw all those years in Houston of him continually running into that brick wall because he couldn't get them over that hump. So, I mean, Milwaukee for me right now is coming out of the East is the most consistent too. I mean, you still have basically the exact same championship team, and I think the big factor that they have this year is Bobby Portis is playing at a very high level. I don't know if the finals kind of brought him out of his shell, but Bobby Portis has become a game-changing factor when the Milwaukee Bucks are playing. So I would say the Bucks definitely coming out of the East, and then we go out to the West. I don't see anybody as consistent as the Phoenix Suns right now. They've got an incredible bench, DeAndre Ayton. Chris Paul's playing at a very high level still, and I think the big deciding factor is, of course, Devin Booker. Devin Booker just keeps growing before our very eyes, and it just seems like this guy can go get you 30 to 35 every night if he had to. The Utah Jazz are the Utah Jazz. Every time they make strides to get up there to that number 1 seed, they have epic collapses, being led, honestly, by Donovan Mitchell. And I know a lot of people are big Donovan Mitchell guys, but I've seen way too much inconsistency to put my faith in the Utah Jazz anymore. And then the Lakers, who would be the only, in my personal opinion, the only other real contender outside of the Golden State Warriors, if they got their stuff together, they just can't seem to stay healthy, and they just can't seem to get their stuff together.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I will say there are 2 wrinkles that I could see happening, and these teams should be feared. They're not really, people don't really talk about them as championship contenders, but I say watch out. In the East, I would have to go with Philly. The season that Joel Embiid is having this year,
he's MVP right now. Yeah,
he's dominating the whole league, and right now he has to be the MVP. What he's doing for the Philadelphia 76ers, and then Tyrese Maxey has really come on for them at point guard in place of Ben Simmons. He had 33 points last night.
The bum.
So I do not count out Philly. Philly's gonna have a say at the end to go to the championship there, and then I would say the Clippers. Yes, they lost Paul George for the year, but they're gonna get Kawhi back here. Right shortly after the All-Star break, they said Kawhi Leonard should be coming back. So they're going to be getting Kawhi Leonard back, and they still have Marcus Morris, Luke Kennard, Zubac. So they got a lot of good players still on that team. Reggie Jackson, of course. So with the re-emerging Kawhi Leonard coming back, could possibly lift the Clippers up a little bit. But we'll just have to see how it goes.
Here's the thing I'd say about Kawhi Leonard, though, is if the Clippers are barely above 500 and they keep losing these games, I mean, what's the purpose of Kawhi coming back? Why not just sit it out, wait till everybody gets back next year, and then have an epic fail again in the playoffs, everybody? Because that's what the Los Angeles Clippers do. Now, I will say, I think a sleeper team in the East would definitely be the Chicago Bulls. I think the Chicago Bulls with the right pieces in place, if they can get good old Alex Caruso back and playing at a high level, they've got guys that can flat out play defense and play team basketball.
Just got to stay healthy.
That's so important. When you have Alonzo Ball that can become a traditional point guard, but can also go get you 10 or 11 boards. When you have Alex Caruso, who is that X factor in a lot of these games. When you have DeMar DeRozan that can go get you 35 at a given night. The Bulls are a very, very dangerous team in the East. And then we go out west. I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for this. The Los Angeles Lakers. If you have LeBron James, a healthy LeBron James, I can't count you out. Anthony Davis is finally coming back. It looks like Russell Westbrook finally has started to figure out his role. They gave Frankie V the power to finally bench Russell Westbrook when he needs to. Kendrick Nunn is supposed to come back sometime around the All-Star break. It seems like they're trending in the right direction. Now, I'm not ready to go all in on the Los Angeles Lakers. And part of this is because I am a LeBron James nut rider, so I get that, and I apologize. I apologize now. But the Los Angeles Lakers do have potential. And a healthy LeBron James, I will never count out of any basketball game as long as I live. It's like Tom Brady. Stop counting them out. Everybody, LeBron James is done. 2016, he's done. Ah, ha, ha, ha. I'm getting the messages. I'm getting it. And look at that. Beat the Golden State Warriors after being down 3-1. LeBron James is the most clutch player in NBA history. We're not going to get into the LeBron Jordan debate. Justin and I are probably going to talk about that here in a couple weeks just because it's such a fun debate to have. But I'm not counting out the Los Angeles Lakers.
No, obviously not. You can't count them out, especially with the way AD has come back and the way he's been playing lately. He's been playing at a superstar level, and this is what they've been wanting to see out of AD. And so you definitely can't count them out, especially because LeBron's at the helm, and LeBron's just like Brady, one of the most clutchest players I've ever seen, and he just is smarter, stronger, faster, and just more agile than he seems to be. How old he is, it shouldn't be like that. But the way he's doing it all with his mind, and he can outsmart any player on the court at any time.
And I think, this is what makes LeBron James, for me personally, the GOAT, is we've never seen anybody master it seems like every skill that basketball has to offer. Jordan, greatest scorer of all time, very good defender. LeBron James, better defender in his prime. LeBron James, in my personal opinion, could score from a lot bigger ranges than Jordan could. LeBron James, the way he's adapted his game over years. This man went from having to drive the ball all the time because his jump shot wasn't reliable to slowly creating a mid-range to now, in year 19, this man has adapted to the new Steph Curry NBA, which is you have to hoist up 9 to 10 threes a game. And he's hitting big threes. So, like I said, I don't want to get into the Jordan LeBron debate. This is more just talking light about the NBA, kind of getting our feet wet. All right, this first podcast back, we're dipping in the water here, folks. All right, we have so many big topics coming up. But yeah, any final thoughts on the NBA?
Just it's getting closer, especially college basketball now is getting better. There's a lot of good teams in college basketball.
All right, well, maybe that's why you didn't hear me because I said the NBA. But yeah, we can go to college basketball real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, it's all fun here. There's going to be some hiccups, I'm still trying to blend a co-host. I've never had to be incumbent to anyone. That's right. We're using big words in 2022. All right. I've never had to have someone on the other side continually. He's staring at me. I'm staring at him. We're talking. All right. So it's going to take a little adjustment, but very glad to
But
have
yeah,
it.
that was all my thoughts on the NBA. But I'd like to take it to the college basketball segment now.
All right, let's talk about some college basketball. Hit me. Here's one thing I'll say. If you ever bet, never bet on college basketball because the teams that are massive favorites continually screw you. Have I been Duke beating a crappy team away from $1,000? Oh, several times. Have I been 1 point away from Loyola of Chicago winning me $5,000? Oh, for sure. The moral of the story is if you bet on college basketball, you will want to kill yourself. And I know I'm not condoning suicide. I would never talk about suicide because I know this is going to get flagged by Apple or somebody because, that's how life works nowadays. I'm just saying I would want to kill myself. Don't ever kill yourself. But if I bet on college basketball anymore, I'll kill myself. All right, go ahead, Justin.
Oh, yeah. How about that performance by Duke last night? I think they have just now shown the whole league that they are here and they're winning the championship this year.
Listen, do you think that there's a little bit, and I'll pass this to you, do you think that there's a little bit of an inspired basketball because this is Coach K's last season?
Oh,
do you think that this
100%.
team is locked in for the simple fact that they want to win? They want to win this man his ring.
Oh, 100%. Any play. I mean, you can even talk to LeBron. You talk to Dwayne Wade. You talk to Chris Bosh. You talk to Carmelo. Whoever you want that was on that Olympic team when Coach K was their coach. They all love that man. All his players, John Shire, Nolan Smith, all those guys, Kyle Singler, all those guys who have played for him and then now have played in the NBA. Of course, John Shire is going to be the new head coach for Duke after this year.
Yeah.
But those guys have loved him so much, and these players love him too. And so, 100%, I think it's definitely something that fuels them. And I think it's definitely something that they're going to take to heart, especially in the tournament this year.
Well, and I think Duke is dangerous this year because Duke is not reliant on the 3-point shot like they usually are. Like Duke, in a lot of Duke's successful years, they always had a guy. It seemed like they always had a Plumlee because they did. I mean, there was 15.
They had a Plumlee for a while.
There was 15 Plumlees there. But they always had a guy that could be a slasher. And this year, we finally have a Duke team that has a slasher once more. When they were successful with Kyrie Irving, I know he was hurt a lot of the time, but it is when they had someone that could go get to the rim. And that's what this team has. This team has guys that can go get to the rim, which makes them so dangerous. And also, the landscape of college basketball has been wildly inconsistent. I mean, you had Baylor almost going down again last night to a West Virginia team that's not that great after they had lost the night before. Kentucky just blew Kansas off the floor by 30 points on Saturday. So the landscape of college basketball is wild, and Duke's the strongest team that I've seen this year.
Yeah, Duke's pretty strong. But like you said, it's open. Duke can be beat. They've been proven that they can be beat with all their losses. So it's definitely an open tournament this year, and it's going to be fun to see who gets hot at the end of the year and who can take that into the tournament and make it into a national championship.
Well, I think we all can agree that the NCAA tournament is arguably the greatest sporting event ever, right? Like this month of basketball is just the most fun, unpredictable Cinderella stories, and I think it would be just a beautiful poetic ending to Coach K's career if Duke can walk off with the championship, send him off into the upper echelons. He's the greatest college basketball coach of all time, hands down. Arguably the greatest basketball coach of all time, if we really want to dive into that deep subject. I know, of course, Phil Jackson, several guys are up there. But, I mean, what I would give for Coach K to finally be able to ride off on that white horse, I mean, this guy's earned it. And that's what I'm saying, people. Appreciate, I guess, this episode. Let's be serious. Let's get real, right? Let's get emotional. Let's dial this down. Appreciate greatness. Appreciate greatness. We talked about it from Tom Brady. We talked about it with LeBron James. We're talking about it with Coach K. Appreciate greatness that you're watching, because when it's gone, it's gone. There's no coming back.
Yeah, it's true. Like, we all do this. We all take situations and moments for granted until it's no more. And then we wish we had those opportunities to see that person again or to, watch that person play, stuff like that. And then when it's not available anymore, it's done. And so, yeah, we definitely all have to just realize how great these guys are and really just enjoy watching them for the short time that they have left. Because what they've done for their sports and what Coach K has done for college basketball, what LeBron's done for the NBA, and Tom Brady's done for the NFL, will always be there. They'll be there till the end of time. And so we just gotta appreciate greatness and enjoy what we're watching.
I did see something funny the other day. somebody was interviewing Coach K. Hey, it's your last season. You know, what are your thoughts? And they said, what are your thoughts on life after basketball? Listen, guys, I don't know if you know this or not. Coach K's 1,000 years old. Not a whole lot of life after basketball.
He's pretty old.
I mean, I thought it was funny. She meant the lady reporter meant it in a way like, what, you know, are you going to spend time with your family? And I was like, oh yeah, all 25 minutes that you have after the season. But no, sad to see Coach K going. Appreciate greatness. Oh, before we go, I got back. Many of you know that I coach volleyball. Just want to give a little shout out to my girls this week, man.
Yeah.
Justin, we won silver. We had a bad first day, right? They understood it. I mean, I think they could tell from Coach Jacob's fury, you know, the screaming. I mean, I don't scream that much, you know. I scream and swear a lot more in my head than I ever would at them. But we had a rough first day. Bounced back, ended up winning the silver championships at a big tournament this week in Hoover, Alabama. You know, so just want to give my girls a little shout out because they discovered the podcast.
Oh, did they?
They did. As all things happen, I walk into practice and all I hear is, "What's going on, everybody? Jacob Courtright here." And I was just like, well, all right. I discovered the podcast, everybody. So shout out to my girls. Great weekend.
Congratulations to them. Congratulations, girls.
We got another big weekend coming up. I'll be in Indianapolis this coming week. Another big tournament. But yeah, we're back on the road, back on the podcast. Listen, today's a good day. And this is one of those episodes where we just kind of want to talk about some things going on. You know, the other episodes are going to get a little bit more detailed. You know, once we get this dynamic down, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Justin, any words for your first ever full episode of the Locker Room podcast?
I mean, man, I'm just excited I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be doing this. And I can't wait for what is in store for these next few shows. I'm excited, and I'm sure the fans are excited, so we'll just all have to wait and see together.
You know, big things are on the way. I'm staring at a gold microphone, so if that's not a cool way to end this segment, I don't know what is. I mean, it's not real gold, guys, let's be honest. Like, it's not like my gold chain gold, and by gold chain, I mean if I shower with it, my neck turns green, you know. But, no, very excited to be back. I've missed you all. Welcome, Justin, to the show. And my sign-off's got to be a little bit different. I mean, this is going to be tough, guys. I'm Jacob Courtright.
I'm Justin Courtright.
And this is The Locker Room.